Okay, we are recording. Welcome to Module 8. Here, this is all about open-hearted, transparent sales. And I love that phrase. I think that is just such a different way to think of sales as this big, open-hearted thing. And in fact, I love the picture that we have on the worksheet here, which maybe I can share my screen for the recording, because it's just such a big burst of open-heartedness and energy, and they're both really engaged. It's not like you're just gonna, softly do sales or anything. It's fully engaged, but it's way open-hearted and super transparent. Look at this guy going for it. So that's what we want to think of when we want to think of sales. It's like a big moment of, just full out, the most open-hearted and engaged and present that you can be. Because sales is kind of where the rubber meets the road in a lot of ways. Of course, it's where you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Someone once asked me, well, actually it was Jeff. You guys know Jeff? He was like, I'm freaking out. I have so much to do in my business, but I really need to get paid. What's the one thing I can do to bring some money in the door? And that one thing you can do is always a sales conversation. That's where the money comes into your business. It's the gateway of the money coming in. So it's definitely that for you. It's also a big time where the rubber hits the road for your clients. I mean, they've been wanting this thing, better health, better business, better relationships, whatever it is. And now someone offered it. And now it's like, okay, I got to jump in or jump out. It's one of their biggest choice points where they put time and money and effort and new mindset, and they trust you and they trust in your method. So it's a big, kind of in or out moment for them too. So it's definitely a major point where a lot is happening, a lot of energy is moving. So yeah, transparent sales. So you just want to be as clear and open, and I think of that gateway into your business, just being as clear and open, but yet solid, and defined like a gateway should be. So that's what you want to think of, just really open gateway. How's that sound, Vicki?
Sounds awesome. It sounds a lot like something that you've talked about before, about creating a container. Well,
yes.
Speakers anyway, but this creates a container. The offer is the container, and they can choose to participate or not participate, or offer to, or suggest maybe a slightly different shape. Like, this doesn't fit, but if you could add this, then I'd be all about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you can decide if that works for you or that doesn't work for you.
Right.
Yeah. And you can decide to try it out. Maybe it'll work for you, but you don't necessarily put it in your policy for years to come of now this package is going to include this other thing. But you could decide to try it out on this one client. Mm-hmm. The point is to be present while you're doing that and know what you're getting yourself into and all that. Yeah, great point. Okay, so let's talk about some of the old mindsets and the new mindsets around sales.
Right.
Okay, old mindset. Well, I don't want to do sales because I don't want to talk anyone into anything. There's a lot for me around this statement because I am a talker and I can try to talk people into things. My siblings say, Amanda, can you just accept no for an answer? I mean, it's just no, okay? No. And I almost never do. You got to give me a good reason for a no. So, but when it comes to sales and asking people for hundreds or thousands of dollars, whoa, I don't want to talk you into that. I don't want to pressure you. I don't want to seem pressury, and I don't actually want to be pressury. I want to have you make the choice. So that has got to go in sales. It cannot be about talking someone into something.
Right.
Yeah. I once heard one of our friends, Eric, say that sales is talking people into something they'll thank you for later. And
I've heard him say that.
Yeah, and that's okay. And I liked that. I liked it. It helped me when I first heard it from him. But it still has that ring of talking someone into something. So for me, I had to move on into my kind of coaching mindset. And when I'm in my coaching mindset, I'm really looking at the situation as what's best for the other person, because I can take myself out of their situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's what works for me a lot better with the sales process, is to take myself out of it as much as possible, because I've done my homework in the last module of setting my prices, setting my milestones and my packages, and I know myself and what I need well enough to know that now when I'm in a sales conversation, as much as I can be there for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and there for me, as in, I definitely don't want to bring someone into my practice that I really is going to be a tough client for me. You know, if someone was doing something that I just didn't agree with, like I actually had someone that was on the political spectrum, just so different from me that I just could not take on their project. And it was tough to turn away that money, but I just couldn't do it. So, you know, that's something I definitely look out for me with. But yeah, so anyway, so the new mindset is I make an honest recommendation and they make their choice. So that is what I'm going for in a sales conversation, is an honest recommendation, the most accurate I can be. And as an expert in this field, I mean, the difference in knowledge is usually pretty clear when I'm sitting across from a new speaker, or, you know, someone who hasn't ever written their story before. I've written dozens of stories now. So, you know, so the difference is very clear that I'm the expert and that they need my recommendation. They are not going to be able to know what they're supposed to do without an expert recommendation. I mean, Vicki, you've had years of training, you know, you've looked at what, thousands of mouths now?
Thousands.
Yeah.
Over 1 million teeth served.
Really? Did you like do the math on that one day?
Yeah, actually, I kind of did.
Nice. Yeah, so you've looked at 1 million teeth. They've looked at what? How many teeth do we have? 20, 40?
About 28 if you're missing your wisdom teeth.
Wow. Yeah.
32, 28, or 24 if you're also missing your bicuspids for orthodontics.
Wow. Yeah. So they've looked at less than 30 teeth. So they only have their own experience, you know, and my clients too, everyone's clients are like that. If you're my husband, the accountant, you know, you've only looked at your own books, whereas he's looked at so many books. So they're asking us to make a recommendation to them. And of course, ours is going to be a little bit biased to what we do. That's okay. But just to make as honest a recommendation as you can. Okay. So another old mindset is, I hope I get this person to say yes. So this comes out when, like, you're over the talking people into stuff and you're like, okay, I have a sales meeting today. I hope I get this person to say yes. You know, and that definitely has a little bit of like you're going to control them or pull them along to say yes. But it happens to all of us, I think, because we need more clients in our business. Of course we do. So it is an exciting time. A sales conversation, you're allowed to get excited about that. That could mean more business for you. I really like in this picture up top here, I'm scrolling up to it. I really like that the two people are actually facing a different direction, because they might be excited about two different things. Like, you might be excited to get new business in your, new clients in your business, and they might be excited that they're finally getting the help that they need.
Right.
So it's totally okay to get excited about it. But of course, what you want to be thinking is the right fit. Is this going to be the right fit? So the new mindset would be, my focus is to accurately assess the road ahead. Oops, I wrote access, sorry. Accurately assess the road ahead and communicate the milestones as an expert. So again, with the accuracy, again with playing your role as the expert, and communicating the milestones means truly telling them what is possible if they do not take any action, and if they do take action. And you've got some of this from the pricing and packaging work. You know how it goes when people take consistent action most of the time. And also telling them, what is going to happen if they don't take action.
Right.
Yeah. And, what they can truly expect with that roller coaster. Remember we talked about that roller coaster of results, So this is another great thing to do in a sales conversation, is let them know it's going to get a little better, it's going to feel awesome, and then we're really going to hit the meat. So I actually just did this today. I had a sales conversation, and she is brimming with her story, but she's never been on stage, really. She was a teacher a long time ago, so she doesn't have a fear of the stage, but she's never talked about herself. She's never taught adults. She's never been on stage in the way she wants to be on stage. So my smaller package gets her just her story. My longer package actually gets her through her first couple speaking gigs. So I told her that. I said, it'd be really tempting to just do this first package and just get your story down. But I got to tell you, unless you get out there on a stage and we test it, and the first couple gigs, you're going to get feedback. That's really where the implementation comes in. That's really where you want to be, isn't it? And she's like, yeah, we got to do that. And truly, that is the better package for her. And I told her that. I said, you know what? If you had just been speaking for, 2 or 3 years, then I would probably just help you with your story. But because we need to get you out there, this is a better. What's that?
Yeah. And get it underway.
Get it underway. Exactly. So, because I know what happens too with the best of intentions is you get your story done and then you're still not exactly where you need to be. So that's that's what I know as an expert. Okay. How's that feeling?
Good. I also would use, just because I have experience with a different system, I would draw in from that system what they've told me in my interview with them.
Great.
As they have told me what they want for themselves in that questioning process. Excuse me, that I take them through. So as I'm accurately assessing the road ahead and communicating the milestones, I would be inclined to put it in the language that they've already given me previously.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely. and we're going to talk about like the interview step versus the roadmap step, because I do want you to be able to use a few new words for them to show them, like, see, there's a whole new world out here when we really get going. And, you know, yeah, but yes, in your interview step, just saying their goals in their words, I think that's brilliant, for sure. Okay, so just to keep moving here, another old mindset that I see and hear a lot that seems to get better and then worse again is just sales and money and pricing just suck. They're just hard. They're kind of the worst part of the job. They're lame. I don't like them. And even if I consider myself decent at sales, sometimes I just, you know, slip back into, sales conversations. You know, I just see people doing that, and I've definitely done that. So my reframe around that is that the sales and the money and the pricing, that's what puts you in business for yourself. Because anyone can find a way to do what they love to do that isn't in business for themselves. Like, if you just want to do the thing that you do all day long, like if I just want to do speech writing or even coaching, even mindset, woo-woo, presence coaching, I could find a way to do that working for someone else where they take care of the sales and the money and the pricing, and I just collect my paycheck, and I could find a way to get paid really well to do that. I know I could. But the sales, dealing with the sales and the money and the pricing and the details and all that stuff, that's what puts you in business for yourself. So if you want to be in business for yourself, this is the skill. This is it. So for the blanks there, I have getting good at business and money and pricing equals business. Those are the skills of business. And business equals whatever is your why you want to be in business. For me, it's all about power and freedom. I have the power to do whatever I want. Don't have to ask anybody anything. Don't have to run it by anyone. I can run it by people, but I don't have to. I could just wave my magic wand and change directions tomorrow if I wanted to. So that's freedom, man. That's big time freedom for me.
Yeah.
So how does that hit you, Vicki? And what's your...
I was going to say freedom too before you said power and freedom, but I like the power part too, being able to say, that's not working, nix it, or the rest of my industry says this can't be done. I'm like, yes, it can. I'm doing it.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many great things about being in business for myself. Like, no politics, no, I'm not playing anyone else's little game. I don't have to kiss anyone's butt. You know, I just like, it's just so great. So, yeah, so the difference between not dealing with sales and money and pricing is the difference between not being in business for yourself. It's just biggest thing, the biggest differentiator. So, yeah, I mean, so I just want to check in here. This is just for my own research purposes, but like, are you someone, Vicki, who it's a part of your pride that you want to be a good business person, like good at business, or like, is that what you think about?
Yeah, it is, because, you know, it's when I've had being in my new location where I really can take this wherever I want now, and I'm not restricted at all. But I've only been there 6 months. Part of me says, well, I've only been there 6 months, and my practice isn't this big yet. The other part of me says, well, it's only been 6 months, so. But I see some steady growth. But the first 3 or 4 months or so were just like my first month in my own space was a new record. And then the next month was surpassed that. And then the next month surpassed that.
Whoa!
And then the month after that was like, I couldn't seem to give away a free appointment. I mean, it was like, what happened? Is this month blighted? Is it, just the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of business. I think it just kind of goes that way sometimes. And I did not feel good about that down month. I had to kind of stop and back up and look at the bigger picture, because I was really tempted to think things like, I suck at this. I'm on my way to the ground. Am I going to be able to do this or not? And I thought, yeah, that really does hurt my pride. I want to be proud of my business. I want people to know who I am and what I do. So yeah, it's a big part. Having my own business, feeling like I'm good at business is something I have long wanted to build something of my own that I can be proud of, that I can point to and say, I built that. So
yes. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I definitely feel that too. I want to be good at business, and I get that takes failure, and I'm not born good at business, like good at everything in business, right? Like, I'm willing to work on it to get good at business, but it's something that I do want, because it's something that I see in the people that I admire. They're not just good at their thing.
Their craft, yeah.
Their craft. Oprah's coming to mind, She's good. She's great at her craft, but she's also good at business, and she's had some ups and downs and ebbs and flows and stuff. Seems like her ups and downs have mostly gone like this,
Yeah, right.
Tiny little blips, but most people it's not like that, but, she has both those skills going on. And I think of people even around town, they're good at their skill and they're good at the business of their skill, in different percentages or whatever it is, but they're still constantly making progress. So, I just think that is something that can be brought into the light. Doesn't have to be a shadowy thing where like you're doing this skill and you're making money at it on the side. No, let's bring that to the front and center and start talking about yourself as a businesswoman.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I think that when I or we or whoever's in business, when we all feel like we're good at business, then I can do my craft only as long as my body allows me to do my craft. And if the day comes when my wrists or back or neck or whatever say, we're done, it's time to hang up the scalers, put away your polish, then I need something else to do. And if I'm already good at business, then and my practice has just been what the business has been. But if and when, I imagine that day will probably come someday, but when it does, then I can say, well, what else am I interested in? I know how to market. I know how to put together packages. I know how to have an open-hearted, transparent sales conversation. I know how to do business.
Nice. That feels so good.
That does to me too. That feels really empowering. It feels long. I mean, like there's a future. You know, if I can't do my craft right now that I do right now anymore, then I mean that'll be sad, the grief and whatever, but the framework is there and can be used over and over.
Yeah. Yes, that is so true. And I know you have a lot more tricks up your sleeve.
So,
right? So that's great. And me too. You know, I've just started doing a lot of this art stuff. And I'm so glad that I don't have to start back at the beginning of, you know, like, oh, I don't know how much this should be, whatever. You know, I know you just got to go for it with the pricing. You got to go for it with the putting yourself out there and marketing and saying, hey, these paintings are on sale, you know. Just go for it. And actually, so I just had my art show that was live and in person, but it got rained out.
Oh.
So then I was like, well, I'm not going to stop selling. I had sold 3 pieces there. So then I put them all on Facebook and was like, now it's going to turn into a Facebook sale. I mean, I've posted pictures of my artwork before, but I've never really like posted, hey, people, you should buy these. So I was like, hey, I'm selling today. I'm in business mode about this today. I'm going to sell this stuff. And I ended up selling 4 more online. So
congratulations.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. And, you know, it wasn't, I never even like thought about it. It's just because business is a certain mode for me. And I just, you know, get in that mode and there we go. And these skills transfer over, as you said, to really whatever I wanted to do. So, if I got dropped in a new city, you know, didn't know anybody and had, you know, a few $100 or $20 in my pocket or something, I could start these business skills doing what was needed in the town or what I wanted to do there. You know what I mean? It's such versatile skills to be a businesswoman.
That almost sounds like so much fun. Let's get dropped in another town and see what we can do in a week or whatever.
Here's $500, $1,000. Go turn it into something. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to write out a few more just great mantras that have served me very well. Here. So.
Oh, next page.
Yeah,
okay.
Next page. Okay. It is okay to suggest that someone stretch. And I mean suggest, like recommend, you know, not just say they could, but say, hey, I think this would be a really good idea. And you can ask them to stretch financially. And honestly, you better ask them to stretch financially because you're definitely going to be asking them to stretch in other ways, usually. Like, I need you to try this new habit. I need you to try this new body posture. I need you to do all this other stuff that's a little more vulnerable, a little more personal. So, yeah, I need you to do something new financially than you've done. That's okay. In fact, I think people are kind of looking for that.
Yeah, these other things that you might be uncomfortable with at first.
Right. They're looking for someone to nudge them a bit and challenge them a bit and call them up to their next level. They're looking for that leadership.
I like it.
It's okay. Yeah.
So, and that's not being pushy.
No. I mean, one way to take the pushiness right out of it is to suggest that they stretch, period. Whether that's with you, with someone else, with something else completely unrelated. But good God, stretch. You know, like, you're here with me today. We've talked for an hour about your problem. Clearly this is important to you. So at very least you have to join Toastmasters. you know, or at very least you have to buy a different flossing product, you know, like something, you know, it's okay to kind of shake people by the shoulders energetically and say, hey, enough with this old maid, come on.
Right. So that's like the, whose quote is that? That's, you know, the same processes or the same energy or the same mindset that got us here is not the same mindset that's going to get us out of here.
Right. Shake it up. Do anything differently, basically. Just have breakfast at a different time. Just drive your car a different way to work and just see what happens. But stretch out of something. And hey, if you want that stretch to be a financial stretch where we do my method, then I'm here for you. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about some other ways to show them what that method is. But the mindset is, I am in the business of helping people stretch. Now, I always differentiate stretch from strain. You know, I don't really want people paying for coaching instead of putting food on their table. That's not how I roll. I hope that they will speak up and tell me if this is really a strain. Today, I had this sales conversation with someone, and she let me know that she was still trying to pay her rent from the first and waiting for this check to come in, and she was, you know, literally had to pay her rent today or be evicted. And I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to push her to invest today. That's a strain for her. Mm-hmm. Stretch would be to still get me on her radar and be working towards it, but it was just, you know, it's just that's strain. No. So watch that line, but hey, stretching, I'm all about stretching. Okay, number 2 is a great one for, you know, that kind of like clinging to this particular sales conversation going to a yes. It's like, listen, if you need money for your business, that's totally fine. I mean, that's what your business eats. Of course, it's going to be looking for money. So, but you can just let it know, hey, my money is coming to me. Maybe now, maybe later. That's not my job right now. Your money is coming to you. Just let it come. Your job right now is accurately assessing where they are on the roadmap and letting them know their options and inspiring them to stretch. But when your money gets to you, if you're in action, which action produces the money is not your job.
So can you say that again? My job right now is to be clear, right?
Be clear, yeah. Accurate, clear, transparent, and inspiring stretching.
And inspire stretching.
Yep. And if you're in action, consistent, you know, heartfelt action, your job is not which action produces the result. Because it's not going to be one action. It's that flow of all the actions. Stay in that good flow.
That is just like food and supplements. That right there, what you said is the concept of holism.
Really?
Yeah. Holism and reductionism. Reductionism is what part of the molecule contains the magic. What of it in the orange helps you get over a cold faster? If we can just narrow it down to this one little piece, then we can, you know, make it in the lab and sprinkle that, you know, sell it for a lot of money. But holism says, you know, nature works synergistically. This part of the molecule affects the rest of the molecule, which affects the other parts. And so you eat the whole orange, not just the one little piece that you think is where the magic happens, because the magic is enabled by the synergistic working of all the parts.
I love that.
Same thing it sounds like here is that it wasn't your sales pitch. It wasn't your package. It wasn't your pricing. It wasn't your slick brochure. It was all of it together. Plus, well, because it all spoke to your client or your potential client from a variety of points of view, right?
Yeah, and the fact that there were many touch points and they were consistent. They were all the same vibe because you were being you, you know, and you weren't trying to be something here. But the fact that there are 5 different times where your client was like, that's a good point. That makes sense. That's right now. You know, the sheer number of those is a factor. So no, you can't just have one that was the best one, because part of it is you bombarded your client with reasons to trust you, reasons to take the stretch, take the leap, reasons to a financial investment is a good idea here. It's going to come back to them in some way energetically. So yeah, that's a great analogy. I love that, Vicki. Thank you for chiming in on all this. Really.
Sure. Right.
Number three, if I can really help them, I need to show up, speak up, and be clear. So this is the time, you know, this is a good mantra for me when I was like, you know, if somebody was intimidating to me, like I felt like they were further on in their business, or if they were kind of just giving me I call it like the East Coast vibe, you know, like they're just like, kind of just stay away. You know, my parents are East Coast, so I can say that. But, you know, it's kind of just a little nudge that I use to just say, no, just speak up. If they're have some defenses up, they'll defend themselves. If I speak up, they'll walk away if they need to. But I really need to, you know, show up to the appointment and speak up in the appointment and really tell them what's possible sometimes. And to the good or bad, you know, like, listen, if you don't have your story right when you're on stage, you're not going to build that trust, you know. And if you do have your story right, you know, this is a really important story and needs to be heard. In my opinion, this is one of the stories that needs heard.
That's a good one.
I am constantly shocked at when I say something that I think is so obvious, and someone goes, "I've never thought of it that way." You know? Does that happen to you too, Mickey, where you can say something? Yeah, because your perspective is so obvious to you, and it's just not obvious to people. So just speak up, just keep getting out there.
The basics, you know, I mean, there are some things too that I don't even want to mention because I think, oh, this is so kindergarten. I'm sure they know this about their teeth and gums, and they don't. And sometimes it's doctors or other healthcare practitioners that I'm talking to. They don't know. So then I'm like, okay, I get it. We know what we know. I mean, that sounds silly, right? We know what we know. But, you know, the chiropractor specialty is spines. Now, I mean, the tissue of a different kind. And doctors and of various types, nutritionists, naturopathic doctors, they don't know where the real target is when they're trying to clean their teeth any more than any man on the street.
Right. So
it's my job to show them and tell them. And I was just floored when I discovered that. It was like, you're a PhD and an MD and something. And I was so flippin' intimidated to talk to you, and you don't know the most basic thing.
Yes, it's great. Yeah, I agree. I have a colleague that, I mean, she was actually like someone I met. She was years into her business when I was just starting mine, and she recently hired me to help her. And I was like, well, surely you've gone through this a million times. She's like, no, I've never had anyone help me with my titling. I've never had anyone help me with my story. I've never told the story to anyone on stage. And I'm like, oh my God, you know? And just, you don't know where people are. So just speak up, keep speaking up. Yep.
That's really cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I love your number 4 mantra too.
Not all clients are good clients. I'm prepared to turn them away. Whew. And honestly, this one took me a long time. Luckily, I didn't have very many seriously not good clients. But man, the ones that I did have were enough for me to say, okay, that's where I got my accuracy word from. It's like, my biggest job here is to accurately assess the road ahead. Because almost all the reasons that someone's not a good client is just not the right fit, right? Would you say that's true? I
would say that's true. And something that doesn't fit, something along the way. It may not be just philosophies or whatever, but
yeah. And, you know, almost always, you tell me this is true for you too, like, almost always there was a red flag early on that I chose to ignore.
Oh, right. And sometimes that red flag, I find anyway, that sometimes that red flag is just a little something in my gut that it's kind of subtle, but I just feel this little thing right down here that just kind of feels like
right
way down in the gut. I'm like,
yeah.
And sometimes I kind of go, I wonder what that's about.
right.
Go skip it on my way, and then later I write against the wall. I'm like, oh, I should have listened.
Right.
Yeah, I'm learning more and more to trust that little in the gut, even when I have no idea what it is. I have no idea why it's there.
Right.
I just know that it's there. And in fact, well, I kind of I didn't fire myself, but I chose to not participate in a 3-day event this last weekend for that reason. And I mean, it cost me to back out. It cost me, I had to put a deposit down that I had to forfeit. But to this day, and everything on the outline looked perfect. I thought, I need this. I want this. I like the presenter. I like everything about it. What is the problem here? And I don't know what the problem is. I just know the closer it got, the stronger I was. It almost felt like magnets repelling each other as I thought about being there. And I was still feeling that. And I have the same issue with somebody who sought me out and did an initial exam process with me. And I offered her a package, and she said that she couldn't afford it, but then went on to enumerate all the things she had recently done to improve. I was like, well, gosh, you didn't ask them to cut your price. You didn't ask them to give you their products for free. You didn't tell them you were going to try, some other alternative thing first. So I don't know. There's just something that's, even though, and it's not even all that. It was just in the process of the conversation. And I really like this person. I know I can help them. I know that they would have a really nice result, but there's just a quiet little thing at the bottom of it all that's making me think like I'm not comfortable just leaving it. I'll call you later when I feel like having you help me. I'm thinking I need to call them and suggest that they just see somebody else, and because I don't know what it is about it. There's some reason that's keeping them from having treatment that they need and they said they want. And it's not, I mean, I would love to do the case. From a business point of view, I would really love to do the case. But, I think we need to listen to those. Not every client's a good client, and we don't always know why.
We don't always know why. Yeah, and I think to be prepared to turn them away is the only way you're going to get to the accuracy. It just, Because really, if you're set and you're sure that you're going to recommend your own services to them, then you just aren't open to all the possibilities. Now, I'm not saying you should like read up on other people's practices or anything like that so you can become the referral center of the world. You know, that's not your job either. But just to really be honed in on your gut to know better and better is this is a no. This is a no coming from my deep level of knowing. Or your gut might say, you know, I'm intimidated by this person, as I was recently. That's not a no. That's just a different color red flag, right? A fire engine red flag or whatever, maroon red, or like it's subtle differences among the gut feelings. But to know that, you know what, if it's truly right for me to turn them away, I'm going to see it, I'm going to do it.
And I think you made such a great point that there are different colors of red flags. So maybe it's only a red flag on the front, and on the back it's a different color, and it says, oh, this is not a no coming from the gut. This is I'm afraid I'm not good enough, or I'm intimidated by them, or I
have a judgment about them, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, like it certainly wasn't. I was telling you, I think before we had the recording, that I turned down some artistry work from a client that.
Oh, there you are, signing back in.
Hey, am I back?
Yep, you're back.
Yay! Oh, I was running to go get a cord, but I'm back. How am I back?
You're back. I don't know. You were frozen there for a minute, so I sent you a text. See if you could hear me, because you were just frozen on the screen on my end.
Oh gosh, yeah, I was spouting brilliant theories over here, but I guess I was frozen. Yeah, my one internet source went down, but I guess my other one kicked back on, so that's great.
You were frozen on the screen, like.
Well, hopefully that'll come across in the recording. It seems to be still recording, so. Okay, I think we got that hammered down. Not all clients are good clients. Be willing to turn them away, and be willing to check into what the red flags are.
Oh, good point.
And if they are a no, then they're a no. And, you know, I've definitely gone against that several times, you know, because I wanted the business or because I thought I was being too picky or whatever. I've gone across it in business. I've gone across that red flag in dating. You know, that's sometimes where you learn the lesson. But the times that I have not gone across it, I have felt so good about that choice.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think I would have felt that good if I was just doing it out of fear. You know, I think I would have felt like, wow, I really let myself down or whatever. But yeah.
I think sometimes before meeting a brand new client for a consultation or whatever, just kind of a get to know each other, see, you know, if you want to work together. I have been finding it helpful lately to try to stay in wonderment. Like I just say, I wonder if this will be a good fit for us both. Yeah. I wonder if I will be able to help the person that I'm meeting with in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Love that.
I wonder if I'm the best match or if I'll be referring this person to somebody else. So I think when I kind of start with that mindset, I don't feel this pressure of, I've got to get them, I've got to, you know, lasso them and rope them in. And
Yes. Awesome. Love that. Staying in curiosity and questions, you know, staying in the question, and then you think you get an answer and you just still stay in the question. It's really great.
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully that can start to open up some old mindsets, and, you know, you'll start hearing new mantras coming in too. I'm sure you already have a few that just can let some of the charge off of this. I mean, a lot of the yucky stuff around sales and a sales conversation, I truly believe is not just generated from us. I mean, that word has just gotten stuff caked on it. And so I have to process some of that stuff, even if it's not coming from me. And my horrible, I haven't ever been duped by a used car salesman, you know? I haven't personally had that happen to me, but it's out there in the world. And so I have to process some of that stuff that I've heard and let into my bubble on accident anyway. So this is great to just process those thoughts as they come and clean them off and just keep your gateway nice and clean.
Mm-hmm.
And not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's okay. You can still have a little sales baggage and still make a lot of great sales.
Good to know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep moving here and really get into the steps of the sales process. Now, I have simplified this from lots and lots of trainings and learnings and different steps, but I feel like these are the 3 steps I can remember. And so that's what I actually use in the sales process. And so whatever you're studying, including this, take it and then make it into your own words that you can actually remember, is what I find helps so much. So the 3 steps are the interview, the roadmap, and the recommendation. Let me mute you, Vicki, because you've got a little background noise going on. Well, I don't really want to mute you because you have so much good stuff chiming in here.
Let me mute me for just a second. And I think it's, does it sound kind of like a radio or something?
Yes.
Way back. Okay, stand by.
Okay.
Let me see if I can fix that.
I'll put on my waiting face. Waiting. Okay. Looks like she's getting that fixed there.
Okay, that should be better.
Awesome. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. That's great. Okay, so the interview. This, to me, is just where I just ask a ton of questions, and it depends really on the person, how many questions I ask and how much is me asking the questions, and sometimes they're just talking. This lady today, it was all me. I had to pull questions out of her, or answers out of her, and I had to ask the right question to get the right answer, because she had a lot to say, but I needed to know a couple of specific things. And if we got too far down the bunny hole, wouldn't have been good. But she was not what I would consider forthcoming about her actual situation. So I had to do a lot of asking. Some people, I just ask one question and they talk for 20 minutes. And I get a lot of information and sometimes it's on the right subject and it works out. So, so this is the interview. And actually, Vicki, you have a great process you use for interview. Do you want to?
I like it a lot. The SWOT process. It is typically people who have business degrees are aware of it because it originated in, I think it was the Harvard Business School, as a way to assess a business. What are an SWOT? What are the strengths of the business? What are its weaknesses? Where are its opportunities? What are its threats? Or what kinds of things threaten this business from moving forward, or whatever it might be. And a lot of times that ends up being dollars and cents. The strength is we made $4 million last year. The weakness is it costs us $6 million to keep the doors open. So, the opportunities are this department is underperforming, and the threats are there's another store like ours getting ready to open across town. So, that's kind of how SWOT works in business, but I learned it at dental boot camp as a way to create a template of conversation. What do you like about whatever it is? If you're a life coach, for example, what do you like about your life? What's going well? What do you want to keep? What's working? And then the W question, what's not working so great? And then the opportunities would be, if you could have your life anyway, how would it be?
Mm-hmm.
Or if you could wave a magic wand and have anything, what would that be? Or describe it to me, something like that. Then a sub question there is about benefits. What would be so awesome if you had that? How would your life be changed? Or what's the biggest benefit? Or why is this important to you? Questions like that. And then the T question is, what has kept you from having what you want up until now? And what is different? Are you ready to go for it, to have it? Yes, I do that. What do you like about your teeth? Is there anything you don't like about it? If you could wave a magic wand and have anything you want for your teeth, how would it be?
Yes.
And what would that do for you? Or why is that important to you? And then what has kept you from having this? And are you ready to move forward with it now? Or
right.
Sometimes they're like, I don't know if I'm ready to move forward. But I'm curious. I want to see what my options are.
Right.
So that's okay.
That's good.
Work with that. Yeah, that process, I like it a lot. It works really well for me.
That is so great. I'm just going to share my screen here. I just brought up a picture of SWOT so people can see their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's beautiful. I mean, that's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
For an interview process. Yeah.
They spelled strengths wrong.
They did?
Yeah, whoever made that spelled strengths wrong.
They did not get their TH right.
Yeah, HT.
Yeah. Clearly spelling not one of their strengths. Yeah, that is awesome. I definitely recommend having some list of questions and tweaking the list. Using what happens in the moment to tweak the list somewhat. So, I mean, even SWOT, you might have a couple of questions under strengths, underneath weaknesses that you make sure to pull out. Mm-hmm. And there's 2 interview questions that I have learned to always ask. And for me, this is my rule. If I don't ask these questions, it doesn't count as an interview. It doesn't count as a sales conversation because I didn't talk about time and money. And time and money are the 2 biggest objections, so they've got to be in there. So one thing I always ask is, how much do they have the potential to make with a speaking gig? Usually this comes across as, how much are your packages right now? And then I do the math for them to think about, like, how many people would need to say yes to your packages from the speaking gigs, etc. But it works for anything. How much are you, how much time or money are you spending on this problem right now? And so if we did this, then you do the math a little bit for them, and you say, if we did this, then therefore it sounds like we could reduce your investment of time and money by this much. So that's a really good deal.
How much time and or money are you spending on this right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Spending on.
And by the way, in the meantime, you already know a lot of that answer because you've done your pricing analysis, right? And you know what people spend on this problem. And you know what it costs them in time and money. And for you, Vicki, and this is true for everybody, including me, it's also a matter of what they will spend later on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's one of your biggest ones because you're a future preventative oriented business, like most health businesses, mental health and physical health. So we've got to bring that out.
That's true. Although I find that sometimes people are not spending much time at all, and they are not spending money on their issue. And to deal with it, they're going to have to spend something that they're not spending right now.
Yes.
And so, and that's part of the challenge or part of the conversation as well. Right, you're doing nothing right now, but you have disease in your mouth, you have discomfort, you have bad breath, you have, you think it's causing headaches or something, it could be related to other health issues going on in your body. So it's definitely costing you. It's not costing you time or money right now because you're ignoring it, but it is costing you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that needs
that might be I think that might be a great first question. What's it costing you? Because they are spending some kind of energy on it. I mean, I can think of you asking me that question in your chair, and even though I'm not investing as much as I should in my dental health, that it's still costing me, So I know that will work, and then it might set you up to ask a further question of, why are you here today? Are you thinking this is going to turn into a bigger problem and going to cost you more in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Which is actually a really generous question. You're giving them a lot of credit for thinking that far ahead, right? Which is exactly what they should be thinking. Are you concerned about what this will cost you in the future?
Oh, that's really good.
Because if they say no, then you can possibly break the news to them that it will cost them significantly in the future. Or if they say, well, yeah, I assume it's going to be a few $1,000s, then you can say, it's probably going to be around $10,000 or $8 or $20 or whatever you think it's going to be. But, and compliment them if they do have a number that they've even thought of. Mm-hmm. So that costing word, see how that could transition from one type of costing to very quickly over into the money?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So your first question was, how much are your packages now? Or another question would be, or in place of that number one question could also be, how much will you make from
this
from my package, or from what you're about to learn from me, right?
Yep.
As a result of working with you. And then the second question is, how much time and or money are you spending on this problem right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, that's not the second question. All of those are in with the first question.
Oh, that's all part of question number one.
Yeah, that's all part of the number one, must ask about the money. And I'm very fluid in my questions. So I don't have a set words that I use, but I must get some money on the table. And my whole goal is to get a number out there that's higher than the number I'm going to tell them my package is. Because that's what's true, right? When we did the pricing worksheet, that number is always way higher of what they will / are investing.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that that's really clear, because that's why I'm in business, because I save people time and money. So that needs to be way more clear. And this was a really hard one, and I really only really got this down in the last 12 months, maybe a little longer. And I was able to raise my prices because of it, because I was looking at the people that I had made a bunch of money and was undercharging. And so I finally raised my prices. And in order to get that bigger number out of my mouth, I had to make sure they got it, that we're talking about, you know, a lot of money that they're going to be making after we do this. Okay, so then it makes sense to pay me a smaller amount of money. But I'm not saying I was too far behind my experience, because it took me 6 months in this niche of speakers to see the results. But once you see the results, then you must make the results clear to your clients. They don't have the benefit of seeing what you see, so got to bring it up. Okay, so that's the money. So the other big question is, why now?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you here with me now? What changed?
Now.
Yeah, this is all about urgency. This is all about goals, and this is, I think, some of the biggest holes in the sales conversation can be the urgency. Like, yeah, this sounds great. Everyone should do this. I should do this. You're amazing, and I'm going to do it next month. You know, and,
or that really what's that word, like vague, that really vague later, but I'll do it
later. Yeah, later.
Some other time.
Yeah, some other time. So so why now? And, you know, by when? Like, what's the next deadline coming up where you need to be ready by this time?
Okay.
For something, right? Like, could be for a speech, or could be by the time your insurance does something else, or could be by a holiday, or could be just, who knows. But what's the next deadline coming up? My Airbnb expert client, she always has the seasons to work with. So when she wants to speak right before the season starts, because that's the most urgency her clients have to get in now, so that they can take advantage of the whole season. Whether it's a winter place or a summer place, you know, those are her two big kind of things, is right before the season. So that's really smart. Take advantage of some of the urgency. Okay, so we've got the interview going. We are asking, we are listening, we are making sure all the information is on the table, including time and including money. We get the picture. We've kind of asked some of our questions too that rule people out. You know, like if they're doing this or this, you know, then they're not a good client. So one of my questions around that is like, you know, are you wanting to give this talk for your own expression, because you just need to get it out, like you would do in a memoir, in a book? Tell every little detail. It's all for you. It's your own thing. Or is this in service of some greater goal of helping them with something? Nothing wrong with either one, but I am not going to help anyone create like a memoir speech, because that's just all about them. That's for a book. So I'll give you to a writing coach. But if you want a speech that's going to move them to do something, that's what we're talking about. So some kind of, ruling out questions that make sure you know that they're really in for what you're doing. Okay, now it's time to show them some piece of the roadmap. Probably not your whole thing, but some piece of it. And this is so important because you can talk about the roller coaster of results and how, you're going to get here by this time, but then you're going to get here by this time. To let them know there's so much more than they're seeing now. It really helps define you as an expert when you have a couple steps in your process. And it could be 6. 12 is way too many, but somewhere between 3 and 6 is really, really great.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes. I'll show you an example of my new roadmap that I just started using. I say a story can serve, or a story serves 3 purposes. It serves a message, it serves, or a cause, it serves a business, and it serves a group of people, a certain niche, really, niche of people. And you can enter this little roundabout. So you can enter it from any one place. If you know you have those, it just doesn't look like the picture in my head, but if you know you want to fill your business, we can get rolling, and it will eventually serve the people and serve a cause. If you know there's a cause that you want to serve, we can create a story that goes with that, and eventually we'll get around to filling your business and serving the people. If you know that you have these certain people you want to serve. So that's kind of what I show them, and I ask them, where they are on the map, and I tell them where I think they are. And that makes a lot of sense because most people that are coming to me don't know all of them. They know one of those.
Okay.
And here I am filling in the other 2. So that's
business or a cause or people and a niche.
Yeah. And if you know one, we can find the other 2 from that. And if you don't know any, you might have a memoir story that you're really just wanting to get out there to, get down on paper for your own purposes, which is fine. It's just not really what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, defining your roadmap, and that's just really simple. Like, it's so simple. There's not really steps. It's just kind of a picture and some language around this whole concept of story that people come to me with. And it's just my own framework, my own model.
That's good.
Yeah, it's worked so well. So do you feel like you have that, Vicki? Like you have a little framework to show?
Well, not so simple as this. I feel like that in dentistry, I talk about, let's see, is it three things or 4 things? Like, especially like, so for example, somebody comes in because they've not had care in a long time. They don't know where to start, but they know for sure they'll need their teeth cleaned. Mm-hmm. And then I tell them that is a great place to start because we always have to start with the foundation. The foundation is bones, and it's gum and bone support. If you don't have that, then fixing anything that's broken or decayed, we can put all kinds of pretty crowns and fillings and all kinds of cool stuff in there, but if it's all on a shaky foundation, could be money wasted. And then, so the first thing we always do is get the foundation square and strong. Then you're ready to move on and have repair work done. And then after that, we can talk about cosmetics. So,
okay. So do you have I think what would work really well for that is a little metaphor for that. Do you have a little metaphor that might work? Like foundation says to me house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Right. So I do actually, a house is a frequent metaphor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might not relate to kids, but you're not targeting kids.
Right. Right. So yes, we want to make sure that the foundation of your house is solid before we put a new roof on.
Mm-hmm.
The roof would be like a crown or a filling or something. And for sure, we don't want to put pretty paint on it anywhere and plant a garden around the outside if the whole thing's going to collapse anyway.
Right. Right.
So that's
I really like that one. I mean, it definitely works. I do think sometimes the house metaphor is overused, just in general society, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So just be on the lookout. You're really good at metaphors. So be on the look out for something that, and especially if it's like the worst idea ever to, paint a pretty picture on, I was thinking of like getting your dog groomed and their nails clipped and little bows in their hair when they have fleas or heartworm or something, where you're just like, oh, my dog is sick, or like pull on their heartstrings a little bit with your metaphor and get it through their head that like, seriously, you don't want to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Putting makeup on a sick kid. And you're like, no, it's fine. You have a heart murmur, but I'm going to send you off to school with your hair brushed and it's going to be fine. No, it's not going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, it kind of makes me think of a little video that I made. It's like 43 seconds or so. And it's called If Gums Were Rooms. And it just is a series of pictures with some music going in the background that shows a really nice room, really nice teeth, like just a cleaning. Then it shows a room where there's a mess all over the bed and maybe a little clutter on the floor. And there's little gingivitis. And then there's a room that's just really a mess, and then more gingivitis. The last picture is what a basement looks like after it's been flooded and then the water recedes. And then there's a picture of some really gnarly teeth. So, I love that last picture because sometimes I think I should just print off that picture, I think sometimes, because people, it would give me a way to say, well, this is what your dental hygiene situation, is right now. And you're asking me to just dust a little and run the vacuum around. And it's not going to help you. Sometimes people say, oh yeah, all that stuff's in there because I didn't floss this morning. And I'm like, no. This is what it would look like if you didn't floss this morning.
Right.
And this is what the reality is. So
good. I love you're like, no.
No. I've seen a lot of I didn't floss after lunch. I know what that looks like. Like you're not fooling me here.
Right. Million teeth served. So you're not getting anything by me. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Especially if it's really, a tough picture.
Yeah. I like the rooms. Maybe sometimes I should go look at that and put it in a book format or something like what's that company that does books? Like picture books? Shutterfly.
Yeah, Shutterfly. Yeah.
Make a little Shutterfly book out of it.
I think that would be great. And I mean, I definitely think that would help people understand where they are. And also, you know, you're really great at asking the question of, and where would you like to be? Because maybe you don't want to be, right? You were saying people don't really care if they're Hollywood perfect. They want to be just below that in normal people realm, but still on the cleanly side. If you were talking about a house, right? Like, still right. Clean. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's great. So for everybody listening, you know, this is the time for metaphors. Although I have to say, you know, one metaphor is probably all you want to put in a sales conversation.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Right. When you're teaching or when they're in your program, you have time for more metaphors, but one basic metaphor is going to serve you well here, not trying to tell them 3 different ways. Because I have definitely seen that.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Okay, so now we know where they're at. We've shown them where they're at according to our roadmap, very transparently, very, very transparent about all this. And now it's time for us to make the recommendation. So usually a customized plan or 2 choices for them. You know, Vicki, you could say, hey, you could go from page 7 to page 2, or you could just go from page 7 to page 4, you know, clean it up a little bit or a lot. But even when I do recommend either one of these plans, I always say, if I could have it my way, we'd just do it this, we'd do this. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's either package or the other one. Usually it's based on timing. If I feel like they could do the smaller package right now, I might recommend that versus waiting for the bigger package. And another reason I recommend a smaller package sometimes is because I want to see how we work together. I have a yellow flag or a certain type of red flag, and I just want to make sure that we're on the same wavelength here. And I don't want to get myself into 6 months of, you know, something I don't want to be doing. But I'll be able to find it out. My smaller session is 5 pack, or I mean, my smaller package is 5 sessions, so that's usually not too long. Yeah, and then you want to focus on their goals, not necessarily on the number of sessions. You might mention that, but it's all about within the first 3 sessions, we're going to get to here. Within the next 3 sessions, we're going to get to here. Goals as you explain the sessions. So we're just constantly talking about their results. And then 2 payment plans, you know. And then the other thing that I highly recommend is to write it down somehow. Even if it's abbreviated notes on a piece of paper because you're in person, or you're online with them, so you have your packages page on your website that may or may not be public, but you have it there, so you can go over it with them with words, and or email it to them afterwards.
Okay.
So I used to do a longer sales process, and it really worked for me, but it was more of my time, so I eventually learned to not do this. But I used to have the sales conversation, and then I would say, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to, you know, digest all of this and create a custom plan for you and email it to you within 24 hours. And this really worked well for me with anybody who I felt like was a long decision maker, because I'm a long decision maker. I'm not an impulse buyer at all. So, you know, anybody who's like that, I would definitely do that. And really, it was really for me. It was really just because I felt way more comfortable with it, and I honestly felt that I needed to sit and think about it for a little bit. So I would email back people what I thought was the best plan for them. And then I would put the price in there, and then I would say, I hope to hear from you. And I usually would not bother them about it. I'd send off that email and wait for their reply, whatever it was. And that worked really, really well for me. And I had a very high response rate to that. But it was a lot of work because I really had to think and type up a lot. So now I basically do that same thing. I take a second and sit back, and I think of what their plan should be, and I write it down on the paper, and I have an honest think about it, and then I show it to them, and they say yes or no right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But definitely recommend having something written for those visual and word processors. Word processors.
So I've been trying something recently where I have my most commonly, well, no, it's more than my most commonly done services that I went and had printed up on a 2-page sheet.
Awesome.
And or two like an NCR thing, I keep the original, they get the yellow copy.
Nice. Yeah.
And so I will, of course, there's some fee that's happened right up front. There's kind of the initial exam thing and the any X-rays and other diagnostic things that have been done. And they know about this up front because it's in a welcome letter that they get from me that goes out prior to their first appointment. So they have a rough idea of what it's like to work with me and what the initial costs are going to be.
Yeah.
And then I tell them in that letter at this point, we're going to do this and this in the first visit, and then we're going to stop and talk about the results, so that you don't get any unpleasant surprises. You'll know exactly what you'll need to resolve your situation and what it's going to cost. Okay, now depending on what it is, but of course the more complicated their case, the more things I can do with it. So I get to that point, I sit them upright in the chair, and I'm circling things and making notes on this paper. So then I just hand it to them and show them that this is what we've done so far. So you can walk out the door right now, but you owe me just this much at this point and no more until you decide to go further. And then based on all that you've heard go by, all that we've talked about, blah, 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 I can get you to where you want to be in X number of sessions. And here are a few ways we can do this a la carte, and here's what it will cost. I've already circled things and how many sessions, and session 1 will, so here's today, then the next session, the next session, and the one after that. That's as far out as I have it mapped. And this is what it will cost a la carte. Now, there's another option, and that is to package it all together for this price. And at this price, it is really a great deal because it's usually less than the total of the a la carte. Plus, these are the bonus sessions that you will get added in, and the additional products that nobody even offers in dentistry. There's like the once a month polish, floss, and irrigate for you.
Nice.
Just to, spiff everything up and keep the healing process moving forward. And it also includes the follow-up visit. So anyways, that's how I've been trying it out.
Cool. How's it been working for you?
So I've only had a few so far. Nobody's taken me up on a package,
Okay.
but I did have somebody say one person just saw the dollar amount and just let it stop her right there. It's like a hurdle that she tripped over and just
Splat.
laid out and didn't really recover well. But the other person really liked the package and thought it was really great, they saw the value of it. They saw all the extras built into it. They thought that would be good for them. They said, I just can't reach that high. I'm going to have to do it in an a la carte way. And I did offer them a payment plan even, but they were just more comfortable with kind of going the step-by-step a la carte.
A la carte kind of way. Okay.
But then
Interesting.
I've also considered a membership program. I've talked to some people who have participated in one of those and they liked it. And how the membership program works is, since you have a lot of things to do and it's obvious we'll be having a lot of sessions together, perhaps you would like to consider a membership program. In the membership program, you pay a flat fee up front, which is your membership fee. And what the membership fee gets you is 50% off all the prices on this page.
Awesome.
So for some people that like knowing exactly, or I'm thinking that that's a little more comfortable for people because I think the packages are just too different. That people are used to going to a dental office and having an a la carte kind of thing. They're not accustomed to being offered a package, although we call those treatment plans. But the treatment plans are based on what insurance companies, how they define things and how they break it down, how they pay for things. And I don't work with insurance. My clients don't have insurance. So I think that maybe packages are just too different than the dental norm.
Yeah.
And so a few practices have successfully tried memberships, and I'm considering offering that next. And
I really like that. I really like the membership idea. And I also like the thought of not calling them packages because it does, for some reason, sound like you're bulk buying dentistry or something, which is so not how you think of dentistry, even though it's a business and it falls under so many of the same things, but it's just not how we think of anything medical.
That's true. And I was really thinking that the packages, the great thing about it is like this is your price for a year.
Yeah.
And these are all the steps that are included in it. So it sounds like a lot up front, but for all the care that you get over the next 12 months, it is one heck of an awesome deal.
Yeah.
So
now,
it's disappointing people don't see it that way, but
yeah. Would it ever be smart to have them pay over a year?
I've thought of that too. Like my first idea for a membership kind of thing was a monthly payment instead of a large amount up front and then a little bit each time you come in. That's one way to model it. Another way to model it is, it's $40 a month or $50 or $10 or whatever it's going to be. And for X amount of dollars a month, you get no.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern about that is that when I look at the cost, what it costs me to serve people, I don't want somebody to make two payments of, $40. I'm just pulling numbers out of the air because I don't have specific numbers to it, but I don't want to give them $200 worth of treatment in a month for them to make two $40 payments and then decide they're going to cancel their membership.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's a great thing to think of. If especially because you do have hard costs of supplies, equipment, your beautiful new space. So, yeah. But honestly, that just sounds like another financing and monthly payment. So I would actually prefer as a client the membership where I get to, pay up front and then 50% off. It's like, well, geez, that's great. I mean, you could get me at 40% off, would still be amazing. But 50% is like, well, I have to do that,
yeah.
So you're right on the right track, and definitely the different ways that people want to pay, want to think about paying, all of that stuff has to go into the pricing and packaging, and then it gets easier and easier to make the recommendation because it's something that they want. It's going to be accepted by their brain, and and it's different in every industry. Like accounting is a little different than health. That's a little different than coaching, right? Right. It's all slightly different, but when you make the recommendation, that's your recommendation as an expert, and it's to me, it's kind of a time where I get to say, this is what's really going to help you. And I'm not really that open to them saying, well, I don't know about all that, but what about this? I definitely have had people say that. I just need this. I'm not talking about payment plans. I will do whatever they want for payment plans, but I need to feel good that the package that we have going is really going to serve them.
Right.
If I don't feel good about it, if I feel like it's putting makeup on a sick kid or, putting new curtains on a house, a flooded house, I am just going to be rolling my eyes every time we talk. Like, here we go again, another 30-minute session that we're not going to get anything done in. It's just, I do not want to be feeling that way. So I will say, I got to stick to my guns here. You really do need 3 sessions a month, or you really do need this. I just cannot, in good conscience, offer you less than this. And, I'll wheel and deal with you all day long for payment plans and how you want to pay for it if that's the issue. But I must have you do this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yes. I had that very issue come up last week. Somebody called me and told me a long story about all their issues, and from what they described, I knew right away we were outside of the realm of just a cleaning, which is what they wanted. No, I don't want all that deep stuff. I want just a cleaning. And I spent a lot of time with metaphors and description, the best I could over the phone, to describe what's happening under the gums and why just a cleaning would not serve you. And it would put my license in jeopardy. And I love people, but I can't think of a single person I would put my license in jeopardy for.
Right. Good call.
But it's, and then in the end, I think he figured out, because of the number of offices, he's been calling all over town trying to find the Walmart price, I think. And it was just clear this is going to be a big case. It's a complicated case. And I did try to work out a payment plan with him, but in the end, what he said was, yep, I know I need this much treatment, but I'm only willing to pay this much. And he said, well, that's an awful lot of work to do. And it would not be Sorry, that does not work for me. In the end, I suggested that he go to a dental school or a dental hygiene school and see what their pricing is.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Which
he
is
didn't.
risky for him, but, it might be his best option.
He didn't qualify for the county programs and things like that. But
gotcha. Yeah, I like that. I mean, when you were talking, I was thinking a phrase you might say either internally or externally is like, I can't, as a businesswoman, I can't do that. I can't do that to my business, right? Like that's another way to be a good businesswoman is be a protector and a steward of your business, and don't make deals like Swiss cheese deals is kind of what I think of them. They're deals, but they've got a lot of holes in them, and they're a lot very.
I used to struggle with that a lot and say, well, is $50 better than $0? But I think, well, kind of, but I am at the point now where I'm like, I don't want to do that to my business. I mean, if this service is hundreds of dollars, I'm not going to accept 50.
Yeah.
It's not fair to me. It doesn't respect my own self. It doesn't honor my educational level.
And you could spend that time differently that would serve your business. It's not like it doesn't cost you time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And speaking of time, we are right at the end of ours.
Yes.
So, Vicki, I know we've done, some coaching and checking in along the way. I wondered if there's anything you really want to commit to action-wise, anything you really, got from this that you want to take some steps on. And hopefully everybody who's watching the recording of this, you're asking yourself that question too. Okay, what do I want to do differently or new at my next sales conversation? What do I want to think and feel differently? Yeah.
I'm thinking of a mantra that is, or perhaps it's really an affirmation, something like, I am a great business person. Or something like that. I honor my business in all that I do.
Love that. Love that. That great business person just really lit me up.
I am a great business person. I make good business decisions. And I really like some of the early things, the old mindset, new mindset stuff. Like, I make an honest recommendation. They make the choice. And I think that even may become a mantra for me, because I'm going to do what I feel like some of what I do is so generous. And sometimes people even tell me, your fees aren't high enough. You should charge a lot more. But I'm glad you didn't, because I like paying this amount.
Yeah, I get that a lot too. Like, wow, you should charge a lot more for the next person.
Yeah,
your fees are just fine for me.
yeah, but for the next person. Anyways, I'm thinking that for action steps, I really like that, making that into a mantra. I make an honest recommendation. They make the choice. And I need to remind myself when those old patterns want to creep back in, that I have to get them to do this, or I'm so desperate. My goodness, what am I going to do if they say no? That desperate, nothing pushes a person away faster than desperation. It doesn't matter if it's a relationship, a business venture, a partnership, anything.
Yeah.
When you're desperate, that's awful. So anyways.
No, I focus on accuracy. I mean, there is a part of me that wants to win. I'm competitive. I love games. Yeah. So I want to win the sale, but I've had to change that into winning is getting the most accurate picture I can, feeling out those red flags, asking the right questions, getting all the information, getting the numbers out of my mouth. yeah, so I totally get that feeling of wanting to win, but I love how you're turning it around here. Honest recommendation, that's a win.
That is a win.
That means you won that sales conversation.
And then they say, wow, that's what I want. And then they leave very happy when they get it. And
very happy.
So am I. We're
Yep.
we're all happy at the end.
Yeah.
That's part of the goal. And reminds me of a very early mentor. Actually, the guy that started Dental Boot Camp said that every business should have a mission statement. If you don't have one, I'll give you this one to use until you make up your own. It's very short. It says, we exist to create happy, healthy, referring patients who gladly pay us more than it costs us to serve them.
Nice.
Isn't that great?
Perfect.
I love that. I've used that all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, happy, healthy, referring clients. And see, if I'm not honest with them, if I'm not accurate with them, yeah, maybe I'll get the sale, but they're not going to be happy, healthy, and referring clients. They're not going to be raving fans.
Right.
So I want that too. So that's what I'm going to just, it seems to me the thing to make the biggest sense, or what jumps out to me the most, is to work on a few mantras to remind myself.
Awesome.
I'm here to serve.
That is where the juice is.
And make money. Serve
yes.
And make money.
Service and profit, 2 legs.
Something about bothness.
Bothness.
From CBC.
Awesome.
So thank you, Amanda.
Yes, I'm gonna put this video out to everybody and let them know that we team taught it tonight. I really appreciate your contributions and just your presence and your showing up, Vicki.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Amanda. It's been a great conversation. A lot to think about here. A lot of good stuff. I've got a mess of notes here.
Yeah.
On the other page.
Awesome.
All right. So next time, see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye, Vicki.
Bye, Amanda.